Hello ladies, welcome to the channel. I'm Isabel and today we're going to talk about age gap relationships. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I've been having great conversations with you ladies who've taken advantage of my one-on-one goddess check-in. Anybody who's interested in that, please check the info down below so you can just reach out to me directly and we can set that up with you. But I've been having these really deep and great conversations with these women, and some of these women have been in relationships. They're in relationships with men for over 5 years. Some have been in the relationship for 5 years, even 9 years, and they are not getting the results that they actually want. They are basically long-term girlfriends and they want to get married. They want to be wives to the men that they're with. And the response from the men is that they're not ready yet and this is just not the right time for them. And these women just want to know what they should do. I will always suggest to women that at this point of the relationship, if it's been 5+ years and you're just living together already, you're already, invested with this guy, you're building with this guy, and you are not getting the commitment that you want, that it's about time that you give him an ultimatum and really stick by it. There's no reason to just waste your time with the man who isn't sure about you and isn't sure about where you're going in your life. So I think it's important that, if you are in this situation, that you love yourself enough to know that I have to say this uncomfortable thing and I need to be ready with what he says back to me and be accepting of it, because the further and further you go in this relationship, the further and further you're getting away from the man who's truly going to give you the life that you want. So I just wanted to say that. But the common thing I seen in these relationships is that the men tend to be the same age as the woman or 1 or 2 years older than the woman. And this stuck out to me because I really began to think like, okay, why wouldn't he feel like he was ready? And the reason why he doesn't feel like he's ready, especially if he's the same age group as you, is because men and women age differently. And I know this is something that we've all heard and we've all come to accept, right? Women all have a biological clock. We're thinking about when is the appropriate time to have children, get married, and those type of things. Because of this biological clock, it's just nature telling us that we have to make these decisions sooner rather than later, because it will become more difficult the longer that we wait. So we have these, urges and these ideas come to us, say when we're 25. We really need to know early on where we see our lives going with every partner that we're with, because we don't have that much time to make that decision. And men basically can wait as long as they feel comfortable to wait to really decide if they're gonna get married and have children and when that's right for them. So because this is happening with women, we are what I would say 7 to 10 years older than men mentally, right? Spiritually, because we're just on a different clock. Now, physically, we may be the same age, but mentally we are not the same age. And the reason why I say 7 years is because every 7 years we have our Saturn return, our cells in our body rejuvenate. So we become different people every 7 years. And this happens in stages. In these 7-year changes, your thinking about and your emotional state and your mental state is completely different than when a man is going through his 7-year stages and where he's going in his life. So once you give yourself that decade, that 7 to 10 year gap, you're actually doing yourself a favor. You're actually giving that man time to catch up with where you're at mentally. And I know there are women who are in, same age relationships, are married to men who are in the same relationship, same age. And I know these women, I'm friends with them, they've been in their relationship for, 7+ years, and they're happily married. And that's great. But that is not the norm. We cannot just take advice from the exception just because it makes us feel better. We have to really see what works in the norm. And because of this, 7-year change in women and in men, and it happening very differently than it is for men, women have to be mindful and have to protect themselves so they can get the results out of their relationship that they want. So once a guy is 7 to 10 years older than you, he's already ahead of you, physically, meaning like financially. He's been working in his career. He's already solidified those things. He's probably already have a home. He probably already has like a lot of the physical things you may need because he's already started 10 years ahead of you. And because of the aging process mentally is different, right? So physically, he is older than you. He has, his finances more in line than you, but mentally he's the same age as you, and you can connect and know what you want, and you guys want the same things. So that is a good balance, because if he's at that point, now I'm not saying all men who are older than you are going to be here, but it's easy to spot out men who aren't. But if he's at that point, that is where you want to meet him at. So me and my partner, he is 12 years older than me. So we're in a 12-year age gap. And we think this works perfectly for us because mentally we're like connected. We talk about everything. We like see the vision for our lives. We like move, we want to move towards that. We're moving towards that. And we're just like on the same page. And financially, he's far ahead of me, right? So he makes me feel secure financially because he's already done the work. He's already got the home, his career. He's already got the things that really will make me comfortable. And of course, we're going to continue to grow and build more wealth. And, as our family grows, those things are going to happen. But because he already has that, that makes me feel secure, and I don't have to worry about that. And I can think about the things that, I really want, which is, family and children and all those things. So because of the age gap, we're able to actually connect better, because there's no, well, we have to wait until we get enough money, and maybe I'm not ready to marry you because I'm still young myself. Where now, when you're with someone who's older than you, they're like, oh, of course I will marry you. I actually want to get married. All his friends are either married or getting married. So things around him and his friends around him who are a decade older than you as well, you're already in the process of doing the things that you want. So that's why it's a good idea to put yourself in that advantage of getting with a guy who is, a decade older than you. Now, you can go older. I'm not against, women going as old as they want to go. That's fine, but it may be a little harder to connect. Once you get to like 2 decades ahead of you, you are going to feel more and more like you're with an older person, right? But if you're just like a decade behind the person, or you're going to feel like, okay, we got each other mentally, right? And that's what you want. You want to still have that mental connection, but also want him to be more stable and, more aware, have more wealth, have, a clear idea of where he sees you in his life. So I think those are good reasons for women to date older, is because you want that mental connection. You want to be able to express yourself and him accept it and him be open to it. And because there is no financial strain, like you don't have to be working just as hard as him and building, you know, this life for you both and really investing a lot, like I'm seeing a lot of these women do, where, you know, they're paying half on the rent and they sometimes even have children with them, and they're like, you know, doing all the things like a married woman, but not becoming a married woman, because you're basically being like a starter wife, right, without being a wife. And so you're building him up, and then once he feels okay to leave you, because he may not really want to be with you, not saying that he does or doesn't, but if he hasn't married you yet, then there's a reason behind that. He doesn't really see forever with you. Then you may find yourself being like in a starter wife position, and then he gets with another woman and he marries her pretty much instantly, right? So this is why I think like women should just be knowledgeable of that and move in a way that you're really protecting yourself and you're putting yourself first. So if you do find yourself in these situations where you're dating men who are the same age as you and you're not getting the results that you really want, he may not, you know, even have marriage on his mind or anything like that, try dating men who are older. Now, there are some men out there who are older who aren't there mentally, but they're pretty easy to spot, you know, because they are of a certain age and you know that their friends may have children, marriage is, and they're, you know, financially stable and all those things. And if they're not that, then it's pretty much easy to spot. You can pretty much tell and you can avoid them, right? But if the guy is the same age as you, it's pretty hard to tell. So you definitely want to just open up your options to, I would say, that age group first if you're uncomfortable. And if you are comfortable with it, I mean, go as old as you want to go. It doesn't really matter at that point, but I do think you do need that grace period. So I hope this helps with you ladies who may have been thinking about this. It's worked in my favor and I can only speak about my own experience. So maybe it will work for you if you find yourself not in that point, and you'll be surprised that if you just open up your options, just how quickly things may manifest for you. You may meet a guy and, you know, because he's older, he's very sure of himself, he's ready to get married, he's like, all right, you're the one, and gets married. Because really with men, it's not about it's not 100% about who you are. It's really where he's at in his life. And because men think like that, once he's ready to get married, he can be in front of a woman he just met yesterday. He likes her, he's probably gonna marry her. If he's not ready for that in his life right now, he can meet you, he likes you, and he's just not gonna marry you yet because that's not something he wants right now. So you want to catch him in the part of his life where that is something that he wants, and that's usually 7 to 10 years older than you. So I hope this helps, ladies. Again, if you want to have a one-on-one goddess check-in with me, you can email me or message me on Facebook. I left that information down below for you. Please give me a thumbs up, a comment, and subscribe to the channel. I would love to have you, and I will see you in the next video.